Welcome to Cultivated Live for Friday, December 13th. That, for those of you paying attention, it's actually Friday the 13th. We have Cultivated since we launched about a year ago. Our goal has been to be cannabis industry first, providing you with the most important, insightful, useful, and timely information. We do it through our daily newsletter, which you can get at cultivated.news. We just got our stats for the year. They're unbelievable. So, Jason, I know you read it every day. But we'll be sending out sort of a update to our readership next week about all the things we're doing. But suffice to say, get their newsletter in your inbox every day. Follow us on LinkedIn. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And thanks for joining us here today. I am with Jason Tarasek of Vicente LLP, the foremost cannabis lawyers in America. What do you think of that?
We say in the world, but that seems
to be. Sorry, I was trying to be more specific. Jason, you are a lawyer. You are based in Minnesota. We saw you last week, actually, in Las Vegas. So nice to see you, I guess, a week removed from that.
Yeah, you gave me a cold. Thanks a lot.
Yes. I still sound iffy. You're just starting to sound bad.
Well, I look
Jason,
like
all eyes are on Minnesota, as they were last time we talked. I'm going to do a quick recap. You're going to tell me where I'm wrong, and then we can talk about what just happened this week. Sound good?
Yes.
There were applicants put into a pool to be ready for a social equity lottery. How am I doing so far?
Yes.
Many of those, like 2/3 of those, got bounced back to those applicants by the Office of Cannabis Management, and some of them with no reason, just saying you're bounced, and we're going forward with a lottery. Then lawsuits were filed to say, hold up on that lottery. Why were we bounced? What's going on? There was a pause on that lottery. And then yesterday, the Office of Cannabis Management had a press conference and a press release out that said, actually, hold up, everybody. We're actually moving it to mid-year next year. Have I got any of that right?
That is all correct.
Oh.
With one exception. They said it 2 days ago, but everything else was perfect.
Oh, shit. Okay. So 2 days ago.
Let me be accurate for our listeners.
So 2 days ago on Wednesday, they said that. And what did they say is going to happen?
Well, we always had a plan always, for the last year or so, we had a plan to do a pre-approval licensing round for social equity applicants by the end of this year. And those pre-approvals would mature into operational licenses as soon as OCM finished the rules and regulations that would guide our industry. Well, that has now been scrapped. Excuse me. And those pre-approval folks are back in the social equity lottery. Whether you're denied or approved, you're in the next social equity lottery, which will be, according to OCM, in May or June of next year. That social equity lottery will be immediately followed by a general round for everybody else. So if you don't win in the social equity lottery, you'll be immediately entered in the general lottery. There's some talk of conducting those lotteries on the same day. So I don't know, let's say it's May 15th. Everybody's going to get some lottery balls. But the difference, I guess, is that the pre-approval lottery that was planned for this month had caps on many, many license types. The next rounds, there will only be 4 license types that are capped. And it's sort of the bigger licenses, meso business, manufacturer, et cetera. So moving forward, there is no cap on a micro business license type, for example. And they're, according to OCM, like the people approved for stay with me, Jay. The people approved for the pre-approval lottery that have been canceled may possibly might receive a micro business license based on that pre-approval, like even before May. That was according to Director Briner yesterday. So long as they get property and sort of check all the other boxes to show they're operational. That was news to me. Kind of makes sense because the micro businesses are uncapped. If you've already approved, it's off to the races. So a lot of talk in the media about nobody's going to have a license till May or June. Well, that might not be totally true, at least for micro businesses and other uncapped license types.
Jason, it seemed like things were going so well. And you were giving us timelines for like early next year, operation, all these things. It seems like, and I'm going to draw an analogy you may not like in Minnesota, but it seems like the ramp up of New York, where there was like lawsuit after lawsuit, and the regulator trying to get out of its own way was trying to make things right, avoid lawsuits. But it seems like lawsuits are coming, delays are coming. Is that how it feels in Minnesota, or does it feel a little bit different?
Yeah, I may not like it, but it sure seems accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, there are many, many lawsuits still pending. There is an argument that some of those lawsuits have been rendered moot by the OCM's cancellation of the pre-approval round. But there's another lawsuit that was filed on Wednesday, minutes before OCM announced the cancellation of the lottery. And that lawsuit is from those 640 whoever applicants who had been in the pre-approval round saying, hey, what the heck, man, we're ready.
Yeah.
And they wanted the lottery to continue. And they have an argument, I think, that even now OCM should conduct that pre-approval lottery. I'm not sure they're going to back down, and I'm not sure the others are going to back down. So I'm not sure the litigation's over.
That's not great news, Jason. That doesn't mean things are moving faster.
No, they're not moving faster. And we have no rules. We don't even have draft rules. There is a formal rulemaking process that allows for notice and comment, and there's to be an administrative law judge overseeing that process. I mean, that's going to take months. So none of these licenses are going to be operational, even if you do have a micro business next month, until the rules are done. And until that process starts, nothing's going to happen, except for our tribal nations who are sitting back kind of laughing at the chaos as they continue to sell adult use cannabis on tribal land.
So there is a bright spot in the industry, and people can get legal cannabis if they're willing to drive. Certainly, in Minnesota, I don't know where the tribal lands are, but certainly there are options. But it does seem like delays are afoot because you have people who have been bounced filing lawsuits, people who are in the lawsuit in the queue to be in the lottery for whom it actually is working out so far. It just seems like a lot of back and forth, and we even know once things do go forward and start opening up, the lawsuits may not be over. In future licensing rounds, we even had a lawsuit filed yesterday in New York about the next round of social equity licenses actually going to be paused or halted or stalled as well. So this could be a long and rocky road. It's good to be a lawyer in those scenarios usually.
Well, yeah, I would prefer that our industry gets up and running, and I would prefer that my clients who have invested their time and money in this process actually get the opportunity to serve that industry.
Fair enough.
My big question is, okay, OCM, you've kicked the lottery out. How about all those clients who thought they comply with the law the first time,
right,
with their application and the pre-approval, and you disagree with them? How's this all going to change next time? Because they're still convinced they're right. You're still convinced you're right. What is going to change? Why are we not back in litigation in May or June?
Yeah, and then the rulemaking could be concurrent, presumably, but it has not. Has it not kicked off, or it just seems like it's not happening quickly?
There was a draft of a draft issued in July. There has been no formal
concept of a plan.
Yeah, there has been no formal draft issued over how many months is that? 3, 4? I don't know what the holdup is.
Fair enough. That's fair. I can read between that. That's fair enough.
The other wrinkle is our legislature comes back mid-January, and the Republicans who are already hitting the press saying, I told you so, this is a ridiculous program, they will be loud about that.
And there's a difference between being loud and doing something about it. Is it just going to be loud, or do they even have the power to change anything?
Well, again, everything about Minnesota is totally strange these days. So we have a split control of the Minnesota House. 50% Republicans, 50% Democrats.
50-50.
We have co-chairs of committees.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it's cool. And the DFL only has a 1-vote majority in the Senate. And wait for this, Jay. There is currently a challenge going on to one of the DFLers who won in the House saying, you don't actually live in your district, you're disqualified. So that would be interesting if that prevails, because that would give the Republicans control of the House. And, none of that's going to happen quickly, but we'll see.
It is the backdrop of close politics of which cannabis is part of the conversation, and delay is it will be a political football I guess, in the coming year? Potentially.
2025 is going to be a bumpy mess for cannabis in Minnesota.
Okay. I'm going to quote you on that. I'm going to pull it. That's going to be the pull quote from this conversation, if that's okay.
I wish it were smooth, but hey, if you're watching this and you're in cannabis, you know this is not for the faint of heart. You should probably not be that surprised.
Yes, I think that's probably fair. If you've watched even any other new market open up, it's probably what you could have predicted. If you had been reading, if you follow this closely, it is what you could have predicted, I guess.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, we're screwing it up in our own special way.
Right. Well, that's fair enough. That's good. I mean, that's like on the one hand. On the other hand, in some respects, like THC use, certainly in beverages, is quite normalized in Minnesota, which I think is ideal for an industry. It brings up a whole other set of issues between hemp and cannabis, but it is from a customer perspective and consumer perspective, working backwards, some of that is really normalized.
Totally. And there was in the Star Tribune, the main paper in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, there was a whole article in advance of Thanksgiving about how to turn your Thanksgiving into Danksgiving to allow for some cannabis infused turkey and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it's seeping into our culture.
Yes.
Rapidly.
Sounds like Thanksgiving at the Rosenthal's. Sorry, Mom and Dad. That's why we're having such a good time. Jason, I always appreciate talking to you. If there are updates, we'll have you back. It seems like now, I mean, do you expect anything to happen between now and sort of the end of the year? Or
yeah.
You don't know?
No,
you do?
I do.
Okay.
I think there will be movement on the lawsuit. There's too many litigants for something not to happen.
Okay.
And I think it's going to happen very soon.
Okay, so maybe we'll have you on next week. As always, Jason Tarasek from Vicente. First of all, good to see you today. Good to see you last week. Hopefully, it sounds like we may see you before the end of the year. Thank you for keeping us abreast of what is happening in Minnesota. Have a good and safe weekend.
Thank you.
That's it for today's program. We'll be back next week, which will be our last week before the end of the year here on Cultivated Live. Same thing with our newsletter. Get our newsletter at cultivated.news. Follow us on LinkedIn. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll see everybody on Monday. Thanks, Jason.